All right, what's up, guys? We went 5-3 yesterday in our premium selections on patreon.com/Brock page. We're also hitting at 64% in our last 11 daily double package plays on that site, which is just $2.99 per month. Link for that site is in the description section below. That is patreon.com/Brock page. Now let's go ahead and get into our NBA slate of games here for this Monday. Happy Monday to you guys. Let's go ahead and get another successful week started. All right, we got ourselves the Wizards taking on the Pistons, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Detroit. The Pistons are the 5.5-point favorite in this one, total at 229.5. Now, we did see a half a point move toward Detroit and movement upward on the total. No real surprises there, in my opinion. Once again, the Pistons open as the 5-point favorite, up to -5.5. Total open 229, up to 229 and a hook. 73% of the consensus are leaning toward Detroit. 72% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Wizards are plus 190 on the money line. So if you think the Wizards will get the job done in an upset, you're going to catch some pretty good juice there, pretty good plus money. It is going to be tough sledding for you, though. You're probably going to have to, sweat it out because Washington's lost 8 out of their last 10. They also failed to cover in 8 out of those 10 games. They rank dead last in offensive rebounding in the association. They also rank dead last in points allowed. They've dropped 11 out of their 14 games away from home. A couple more things to add about the Wizards. They rank dead last in defensive field goal percentage. They're also in the bottom 3 in defensive three-point percentage, and they're in the bottom 5 in defensive rebounding. Now, Detroit on the other side, winners in 3 out of their last 4. They're also 5-2 against the spread in their last 7. Now, Andre Drummond, he's averaging 17 rebounds a game. He is leading the association in rebounds on average per game. He's also scoring 18 points per contest, and he's got 2 blocks. Blake Griffin, the funny man, he's really not that funny. Honestly, I know I'm saying that laughing. He's not that funny. He really isn't. But pretty good basketball player. 17 points a game, 5 rebounds. And of course, D Rose, 16 points a game, 6 assists for him. Now, Detroit, they rank in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 3 in three-point percentage, and they're in the top 5 in defensive rebounding. Now, 5 out of Detroit's last 8 did get over the number. They're also 8-5 to the over at home. Meanwhile, 2 out of Washington's last 3 got over the number as well. 8-6 to the over when traveling. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it down, and take the Pistons -5 and the over 229.5 in that game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Cavaliers taking on the Raptors, 7:30 Eastern tip-off in Toronto. The Raptors are the 13-point favorite, total at 217. We saw a half a point fade of Toronto in movement downward on the total. The Raptors open 13.5 down to -13. Total open 219 down to 217. 58% are leaning Toronto, 52% shaded toward the over. Right now, Cleveland is plus 690 on the money line. Now, the Cavaliers have dropped 9 out of their last 10 games. They're covering just 30% of their games in those 10 as well. Wow, just 6-20 overall for the year. 26 games, only 6 outright victories. They've also dropped 10 out of their 13 when traveling. Cleveland ranks in the bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 5 in offensive field goal percentage, bottom 10 in offensive rebounding. They're in last place in the Central Division, and they are 17.5 games back already in this very short season. A couple more disparaging things about the Cavs. Bottom 10 in points allowed on the road, and they rank dead last in road defensive field goal percentage. Now the Raptors on the other side, winners in 2 out of their last 3. They're also 10-3 straight up at home this year, top 10 in home scoring, top 3 in home defensive field goal percentage. Pascal Siakam's averaging 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Kyle Lowry, 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. And Norm Powell, 14 points a game, 4 rebounds for Norman. Now, total-wise, Toronto's 8-5 to the over in their last 13. Cleveland 2-0 to the over in their last couple of games themselves. I'm going to lean toward the home chalk in this one. Give me Toronto -13 and the over 217 in that matchup. Next contest, it is going to be Mavericks taking on the Bucks. And of course, a week ago, you would have saw this on the schedule and said this would be a tight one, a good one. But unfortunately, Luka Doncic is out. But anyway, Milwaukee is the 11-point favorite in this one, total at 227.5. We saw a 1-point move toward Milwaukee and movement upward on the total. The Bucks open as the 10-point favorite, up to -11. Total open 226, up to 227.5. 61% are leaning Milwaukee, 70% shaded toward the over. Right now the Mavs are plus 560 on the money line. Now the Mavericks have successfully covered the number in 9 out of their last 11 on the road. They rank in the top 3 in road scoring. Of course, like I said, Luka Doncic is out. That is a huge blow to him. But they still rank in the top 5 in road field goal percentage, top 3 in road offensive rebounding. Kristaps Porzingis, he's averaging 9 rebounds a game, 17 points, 2 blocks. Tim Hardaway Jr., 13 points a game he's averaging as well. This Dallas team, 9-2 straight up on the road. Very good road team. And they rank in the top 10 in defensive rebounding away from home. Top 10 in defensive three-point percentage on the road as well. So Dallas, although they are down, their big star, certainly good in many different stats and trends. Now Milwaukee on the other side, they rank in the bottom. It was tough to find some disparaging numbers about them, but they are in the bottom 3 in free throw percentage, bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball as well. Bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball. And they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 head-to-head matchups with Dallas. So if you're into historical trends, certainly not in favor of Milwaukee. And one more thing to add, Eric Bledsoe has been ruled out for tonight's action. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee's 3-0 to the over in their last 3, 8-6 to the over at home. Meanwhile, Dallas 2-0 to the over in their last 2 themselves, 8-3 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. I don't even know if they'll keep it close. They still might lose by double digits, but I think they'll keep it within 12. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Dallas plus 11 in the over 227.5 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Monday's NBA action. But before we get into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we went 5-3 in our 8 premium picks on that site yesterday. We're also hitting at 64% in our last 11 daily double package plays on that website as well. We do daily premium picks on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to on that site as well. And you're probably thinking right now, I know you're probably like, well, dude, you're giving out picks for free on YouTube. Why would I pay for your Patreon page? Well, I'll explain to you the difference at the end of the show, why investing in Patreon is a lot better value than throwing darts, handicapping every game here on YouTube. Now, if you want to check out my current Patreon record, you can do that for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. It's right on the homepage. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and get into some more free lines of personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Bulls taking on the Thunder. And that's going to be an 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in OKC. The Thunder are the 6-point favorite, total at 209. Saw a 1.5-point move toward OKC and movement downward on the total. Thunder open 4.5 up to -6. Total open 210 down to 209. 51% are leaning Chicago, 62% shaded toward the over. Right now the Bulls are plus 230 on the money line. Chicago's just 4-8 straight up on the road, bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage. The Bulls are in 4th place in the Central Division, 14.5 games back of the division lead. Out of their 28 games on the year, they've won just 10 of them. 10-18 straight up on the year. They rank in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding, bottom 10 in road offensive field goal percentage. Now OKC on the other side, they successfully covered the number in 6 out of their last 8. They're also 8-4 against the spread in their dozen home games. They rank in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 5 in offensive field goal percentage at home. They're in 3rd place in the Northwest Division, just 6 games back of the division lead. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 19 points a game, 5 rebounds. Danilo Gallinari, 18 points a game, 6 rebounds for him. And Dennis Schroeder, 17 points a game, 4 rebounds for Schroeder. This OKC squad ranks in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball at home. Now, total-wise, OKC is 70% to the under in their last 10. They're also 15-10 to the under overall for the year. I'm going to lean OKC -6 and the under 209 in that matchup. Next game, it is going to be Spurs taking on the Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Houston. The Rockets are the 9.5-point favorite, total at 232.5. We saw a half a point fade of Houston and movement upward on the total. The Rockets open -10 down to -9.5. Total open 232 up to 232 and a hook. 56% are leaning Rockets, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now the Spurs are plus 430 on the money line. The Spurs have also failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. They're just 3-8 against the spread on the road this year, and they are 7 games back in the Southwest Division. Spurs rank in the bottom 5 in points allowed, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. Their last 3 losses came to the likes of Cleveland, Detroit, and Minnesota. They're just 6-19 against the spread overall for the year. Worst covering team in the association. They also rank in the bottom 5 in points allowed on the road. Now the Rockets on the other side, 17-9 straight up overall for the year. Just a half a game back for the division lead. They're probably going to surpass Dallas as, like I said, Luka Doncic earlier in the show is out with an injury. So probably look for Houston to take over that top spot in the division. But once again, this Houston squad, 6-3 straight up in their last 9. They're also 9-4 straight up at home this year. James Harden, what can I say? He's averaging 39 points a game, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals. Russell Westbrook, 23 points a game, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals as well. We should see him in action tonight. And, of course, Clint Capella, 14 points a game and 15 rebounds he is bringing down. This Houston squad ranks in the top 3 in scoring, top 5 in offensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Houston's 2-2 to the over in their last 4. They're also 7-6 to the over at home. San Antonio, 4-1 to the over in their last 5 themselves. 7-4 to the over when traveling. I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and lean Houston -9 and the over 232.5 in that game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Miami taking on the Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Memphis. The Heat are the 4.5-point favorite, total at 218.5. We saw a half a point fade of Miami and movement downward on the total. The Heat open as the 5-point favorite, down to -4.5. Total open 219 down to 218 and a hook. 72% are leaning Miami, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now the Grizzlies are plus 170 on the money line. Memphis is just 4-11 straight up at home this year, 6-9 against the spread in that same category. They're ranking the bottom 5 in points allowed, bottom 10 in offensive 3-point percentage as well. They're in 4th place in the Southwest Division at just 9-17 overall for the year. They're also 8.5 games back of the division lead. The Grizzlies rank in the bottom 3 in points allowed at home, bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage at home. Meanwhile, the Heat, 7-2 straight up in their last 9. First place in the Southeast Division, 7 games ahead of Orlando for the lead. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 5 in offensive field goal percentage. They're also in the top 3 in offensive 3-point percentage as well. Jimmy Butler's averaging 21 points a game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Kendrick Nunn, 16 points a game, 4 assists. And Bam Adebayo, 15 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists for Bam. This Miami squad ranks in the top 3 in defensive rebounding, top 10 in points allowed. And their last 4 straight games all got over the total. Meanwhile, Memphis, 3-2 to the over in their last 5 themselves. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it down, and take Miami -4 in the over 218.5 in that contest. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Blazers taking on the Suns, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Phoenix. We have ourselves a good old-fashioned pick'em contest in this game with a total at 228.5. Now, we did see a 1-point fade of Phoenix. They opened up as the 1-point favorite. We also saw movement upward on the total. The Suns open, once again, as the 1-point favorite, down to a pick'em contest. Total open 228 up to 228.5. 53% are leaning Phoenix, 67% shaded toward the over. Now, Portland, I know they've struggled as of late. They've struggled in certain spots, but they rank in the top 10 in 3-point percentage, top 10 in offensive rebounding. Damian Lillard, 26 points a game, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. CJ McCollum, 21 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for him. And Hassan Whiteside, 16 points a game, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Now, this Portland squad, They rank 11th in defensive field goal percentage. They're in the top 10 in road offensive rebounding, and they're in the top 10 in defensive three. Let's try that again, Brock. Portland ranks in the top 10 in defending the three ball on the road. Now, Phoenix on the other side, losers in 7 out of their last 10. They've also won just 6 out of their 15 games at home this year. They rank in the bottom 5 in offensive rebounding, bottom 10 in points allowed. They're in 4th place in the Pacific Division, 12 games back of the division lead already, and they rank in the bottom 5 in defensive rebounding, bottom 5 in points allowed at home. Now, Phoenix is 70% to the over in their last 10 games, 10-5 to the over at home. I'm going to lean Portland winning this one outright in the over 228.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we went 5-3 in our premium picks on that website yesterday. I like Portland winning that game outright in the over 228.5. Houston -9 over 232 and a hook. Miami -4 over 218.5. Dallas +11 over 227.5. OKC -6 under 209. Toronto -13 over 217. And last but certainly not least, I like Detroit -5 and the over 229.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, our shout outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. Shout out to Justin DeLeon, Irie Soul, Retta Manry, 1, Dirk Diggler, Joe Delator, Ninji Chris, Chibaku Tensei. Shout out to IREC, Martinez Tiskus, Mark Hall, Lane Eternal Master, San Fran Mission. Shout out to Bucket Bro, Kiwi Inzi, Dave Marino, Overton Span, PMC05, Chris Profit. Shout out to Leo. And last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man, Nick Soto. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage, where we went 5-3 in our last 8 premium picks on that site yesterday. We're also hitting at 64% in our last 11 daily double package plays on that site. And like I said earlier, I know what you're probably thinking. You're like, dude, you just handicapped an entire slate of NBA games for free right here on YouTube. Why would I pay for anything? Why would I pay for your Patreon page? Well, that's a great thought. That's a great question. Let me just explain it to you like this. What we do here on YouTube is we handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total. Now, if you were to do that in real life, bet every single game, side and total, with your hard-earned money, you're guaranteed to lose in the long run. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp. The math is really, really against you betting every single game. So what we do on Patreon is we really narrow it down to 3 to 4 premium selections per day, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I'll tell you this much, they're high percentage selections. They're games that I personally have action on. And my current record on Patreon is a whole lot better than it is handicapping every single game on the board, both the side and the total here on YouTube. So if you want to check out my current record, you can do that for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage.